Hello and welcome to part 2 of the video series on using MOBI with Army JROTC curriculum. My name is Steve Huff. In the first video we watched, we saw some of the setup of MOBI, some of the context of how it's used. In the second video, we're going to look at some specific applications, specifically how to control your computer from anywhere in the classroom. Number 2, how to annotate over a deck of PowerPoint slides. And number 3, write with your MOBI with software that has annotation capabilities such as Zoom It or CPS. In the third video, you'll see more of this section on how to use Workspace software from the instructions, specifically with some Army JROTC curriculum. Okay, so in this first video, we want to look about how to control your computer from anywhere in the classroom. So I have my MOBI up and running, and I'm just hovering the mouse, hovering the pen over the space, the writing space, but not clicking on the screen. If I were to click, it creates like a left click on your mouse. So I'm just hovering over and it's moving that arrow from anywhere in the classroom. Now when I'm ready to open up a program, I'll just come down here and I have some PDF files. I just tap on the screen or on the writing space with the pen, and it's like a left click with your mouse, and it gives me some choices here. And then I'll left click on the Army JROTC ribbons that I have here, and I can just zoom in and out, for example, as I would a left click on my mouse. I can scroll up and down, and I can also just grab it at the top by tapping with my pen in that space like a left click on your mouse and then moving it around. So in that regard, I can be anywhere in my classroom still controlling and opening any programs. So it's very easy to use. I'm mobile. That's where the name MOBI came from. I'm mobile around the room. Number 2, I want to show you how to annotate over a deck of PowerPoint slides with your MOBI. This tool has been around for a long time inside of PowerPoint, but most people don't know about it because it's, if they don't have an annotation tool, it's a little bit harder to use with your mouse. So you can see here I'm in slideshow mode. You do have to be in the presentation or slideshow mode. And down here in the bottom left, you have a little pen icon. If you hover over it, you can see it's kind of grayed out there, but when I hover over it and tap with my pen, it opens up these different tools. So I have a pen, I have a highlighter, I can change my ink color. So for example, I'll just choose red as my color, and I can annotate on the screen. So if I was talking about MOBI, I could say, notice here's the pen, you're just writing in this space, here are the workspace shortcut icons on the MOBI Quick, here's the screen, for example, that shows the clicker data right in this space here. So it's much more effective than using a laser pointer or my finger because those annotations stay up there. Now I can come down here if I want to and erase all ink on that slide, take that off. I can also change my ink color, so I could change over to blue, let's say here, if I wanted to change that color, make it look a little bit different. So again, I can be anywhere in the classroom. I'm not stuck to the front of the computer, and I have a nice annotation tool right inside of PowerPoint. So if you're not yet to this level of downloading Workspace and using that annotation tool, you just want to annotate right in PowerPoint, that's how you do it. Now notice here when I escape or exit out of that PowerPoint presentation, it's going to ask me, do you want to keep those annotations? You would choose this, or do you want to discard? Now typically I'm going to discard because I want my PowerPoint to stay like it was. But let's say I wanted to keep. I wanted to show you now in the editing mode in PowerPoint, there's those annotations, but they've become objects. So if I highlight them, I can easily just hit delete and take those out as well. All right, that's a little bit about using MOBI with the annotation tool in PowerPoint. Now let's take a look at a couple other programs that also allow you to annotate. First of all, I want to talk about a program called Zoom It, and you can see I have that icon right here on my desktop. That's a free program, and you can download it from a website. I think it's by TechSmith. If you just put the word Zoom It into Google, it will take you there, and that's ZOOMIT. And once you have Zoom It up and running, you can do some really neat things. Let me show you here. I'll pull up the Army JROTC website. And as you can see, if I wanted to talk to my students about this website, the fonts are kind of small, it's kind of hard to see. So once I have Zoom It downloaded, now I can just hit Control-1 on my computer, and I can zoom in to any location. So I can now annotate with my MOBI from anywhere in the classroom and say, this is where you're going to put your user ID. And of course, I could be doing this with a mouse, but it's just hard to write with a mouse, almost impossible. And I'm not stuck to the front of the room. I put my password in this location here. By hitting I'm on red now, but by hitting the B button on my keyboard, I can just change to another color. I can change to blue. I can talk about what's in the home section, what's in the history. Here's the interactive timeline and games. Or I can hit the G button and change to green to talk about our vision here. So a nice little tool. You can easily zoom in, and that could be with anything. So if I just wanted to talk about what's on my desktop, for example, I could zoom in here and say, here's your CPS shortcut icon. This is where you're going to click. So it's called Zoom It, but it's also an annotation tool as well. Now, I also wanted to show you how you can use the MOBI with CPS. So I'll open up my CPS program here. Inside of CPS, there's a tool called Chalkboard. And some of you might have seen this before. For others of you, it might be somewhat new, but I'm just going to launch my CPS program and get into any lesson. You don't have to have a pre-made lesson. I'll just actually engage the verbal mode here. And when I pull up my toolbar that floats on top, as you know, one of the choices that I have, you can see here, is Chalkboard. So when I open up the Chalkboard, it's going to show me the annotation tool that I have inside of CPS. So let me show you how this works a little bit. So let's say I just wanted to work a simple math problem. 2 plus 3 times 5 equals. I can easily change my pen color. So I'm going to come over here to red now and say, hey, students, remember my dear Aunt Sally. That's how you remember the order of operations: multiplication, division, then addition and subtraction. So we're going to do the multiplication first right here, and that's going to be 15, and then we add our 2 to it and we get 17. So you can see it's just very easy to use. It's right inside of CPS. And of course you could make that a clicker activity by using these buttons down here. That's for a different training, but some of you have used that before. You can also import images, by the way. So if you go to your images here, we can just pull in one. Let's say we'll pull in the cadet officer ranks, and then we could have some discussion about, okay, here's the rank that you've achieved so far. What is it going to take to get here? What is it going to take to get here? And have discussion about it, and I'm annotating on the screen. So I could be making a list of what the students are discussing here, and you know, you can pull in images and annotate as well. So it's just another nice way to use MOBI directly inside of CPS. So we've just covered 3 main things: how to use MOBI to control your computer from anywhere in the classroom, opening and closing programs. Number 2, how to use the annotation tool inside of PowerPoint. And number 3, how to use MOBI with some other programs that have annotation features such as Zoom It as well as CPS. In part 3 of the video series, we're going to go in more in depth in how to use MOBI with the Workspace software with the Army JROTC curriculum. Thank you very much.